This episode is brought to you by Tabletop Dominion. If the antics of the circus have given you the desire to roll some dice of your own, head to tabletopdominion.com and use the code DESIRE10. With Swayze trapped under a spell, startled by my power, the demon raises dab off high, his soul he does devour. Really, what's the point? I can't. You can't expect me to just sing a recap song when that just happened. What do you expect me to say? That how I can't deal with that through a song. I'm sorry.
So, your beloved gnome rogue has unfortunately died at the hands of this fire demon. I don't think anyone ever really asked or discovered what it was. But what we're going to do, we're not going to retcon anything, but we're just going to reverse a couple of seconds, because obviously at the end of the last session, I rushed through that somewhat, that touching moment of Dabble's death. And I'm just wondering. Well, it was touching. The demon was touching him. What would have happened to you guys? What would have? We're out of combat. As the creature picked up Daboff and sort of basically sucked his soul straight out of him, what would the rest of you have been doing? What would you have seen? How would you have reacted in that moment?
I'm trying to remember what the last thing I actually was doing was.
I mean, from Greg's point of view, I don't think he would have even really noticed. He was just going to get Trez, because Trez is like the other side of the field, so he has no idea what's going on.
He's not wrong. We were all doing our own thing. It's probably not until we've sort of reconvened that we realise that he's actually gone, right?
Yeah, from my position, I think there's a couple of horses in the way, so there's a lot of commotion, and it's certainly not...
We've seen him sort of swoop down, and he's hit Dabov, but at the same time, like, we don't actually know that he's gone.
Okay. It's worth remembering that Greg at the start of combat did actually just sit by the fire and start making himself a coffee, so that doesn't surprise me that maybe...
just doesn't give a shit.
Greg would have noticed anything. Okay, so...
Nothing shakes Greg. It's a reference to brown sugar oat shaken espresso.
Lovely.
I didn't realise we were doing product placement.
Okay, now I hope Starbucks are listening and save me a bit of money.
Yeah, hopefully, if we time this well, in about 6 to 8 months, they will be. So what are you doing then? As I say, we are out of combat, so I'll allow you now to do as you want to do.
I'm over it with Swayze, aren't I?
Oh God, I forgot about Swayze.
Just remind me of what situation we had with Swayze. Had I restrained him?
You had cast dancing lights on him.
Yes, yeah.
So you had cast dancing lights on him, and he was incapacitated.
Yeah,
I think that's what he gets as part of that. There had been quite a few rounds at that point. I think he'd been incapacitated for about 4 or 5 rounds, perhaps.
Do you reckon Swayze would have noticed that Daboff's now no longer with us?
So the creature had been flying, if you recall. The creature had been flying in the air, and it came down just... I don't know if it came down straight next to Daboff or if it was a bit further away and walked up to it, but it certainly would have been obvious. And bearing in mind Aldrich was here realistically to bear witness, he would have been looking at Dweezil, but looking past him at the same time. And from what you were saying, Dweezil, and the fact the rest of you are saying we might not have noticed what was going on, or you might not have noticed that he died, I think it's fair to say that Aldrich would have made it aware that he's seen, if not Daboff's death, he would have seen that Daboff was lifted up by this creature. And he would have definitely been trying to taunt you, Dweezil. Oh, look, it's It appears that your friend has got himself into a little bit of problem.
Who's he talking about?
I mean, I don't think any of you guys would be able to hear Swayze.
What did he say?
What's going on over there? What's going on?
Perhaps
Where's the
you
creature
should go
gone?
and have a look.
Perhaps you should shut the fuck up, you dickhead.
Quinch starts looking around in a panic, just as this dreaded feeling of something having occurred, something having gone wrong, starts to bubble.
I mean, if not, obviously the battlefield had been this demon. There obviously was a fire elemental that you defeated. The demon has now disappeared. So
Did you say he left behind his chain mace?
He left his mace behind. That sort of clattered to the floor.
Okay.
And so that's quite, So you would have seen if you don't know what happened with Daboff, you would have at least seen that the demon had disappeared.
So I guess I'm only really about 15 foot out. I think the horse may be swaying back and forth. It wouldn't take long for me to notice that Daboff is prone for whatever reason, not knowing that he's dead or whatever, but he's certainly prone and the demon's not there anymore. So I'm going to approach, I think, sort of with the idea in mind that I'm just going to maybe, I don't know, without really thinking too deep on it. The demon's gone. I'm just going to go help him up and congratulate him on slaying the demon.
Yeah.
Okay, so you head over to Daboff. I'll deal with that in a second. What about the rest of you? What are you planning on doing?
From Greg's point of view, I think he would have gone and got Trez, and then he'll be leading them back, and he'll be like, "Don't worry, all. He's not gone anywhere. He's right here. I've got him. I've got him. We've got all the horses. Everyone's safe."
I thought Trez was Dweezil's horse. No.
Let's not go through that again. I might. Can we just name the horses like Krill horse, Greg horse?
I'm sticking with riding Nathan. So,
well, of course.
I mean, from my point of view, it is actually Doss, but considering we always say everyone's Trez, then we're going to go with Trez. Oh wait, no, Doss is Mike's.
Mine is Doss.
Everyone so Trez is right. Yeah. Okay.
Quinch, what are you doing?
So Quinch is noticing that Krill has just walked over to Daboff, and he's starting to realise that he sees Daboff on the floor. Not yet concerned, but he slowly walks in Krill's stead.
Okay. And Dweezil?
Well, I want to make my way over, but I want to drag Swayze with me. Now, if I drag him, I don't want to shake him out of his stupor. Or can I try and persuade him to follow me? As he's charmed, I would get advantage on a persuasion roll against him.
Okay, so you tell me what you want to do.
I want to say to Swayze, follow me. And then I'm going to set off walking.
So can he follow you if he's incapacitated?
He's charmed. He's not incapacitated, he's charmed.
Is that what it...
Yeah.
I thought he couldn't... Yeah, but he couldn't move, right?
The pattern appears for a moment. Each creature becomes charmed for the duration. While charmed by the spell, the creature is incapacitated. Yeah.
So you can always drop it, but...
No, I'm not dropping it.
Just tie him up, surely.
You've got about 30 seconds to do so I don't think you get very far in that time.
But if he's incapacitated, that probably means that you could drag him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to harm him, though, do you?
I don't want to shake him. I don't want to shake him out of his stupor. I just want to drag him.
Okay. So you drag him, lift him. He can talk, though, right? He's not...
Yeah, he can talk,
He's charmed, but he's not so charmed that he's...
No.
Yeah. So you're dragging him, and has your sort of... How are you doing this? You sort of... Like, are you doing it? Are you walking backwards?
Yeah, I'm walking backwards. Arms under his armpits. Kind of got him in not quite a full Nelson. But I'm walking backwards. Taking care to watch where I step. I'm not going to step on a rock and tumble and end up with Swayze on top of me.
He takes 1 HP and he suddenly he's out of his stupor. Okay, you do that. As you're, I mean, even as you're starting to do it, you can hear him sort of like talking over his shoulder to you, and he just says to you, Dweezil, there's no need to worry. I'm no threat to you. You can bank on that. I'm not planning to hurt any of you.
If I was worried about you hurting me, do you think I'd be taking you with me, Swayze? What on earth leads you to think that I am in any way scared of you? You are a pathetic excuse for an illusionist.
As you're continuing to drag him, he says, "We can talk about this in approximately 20 seconds."
We can talk about it now. I mean, nothing's going to change other than the fact that you're going to be free to move.
Well, perhaps you would consider the fact that even in my current state, I could kill one of you with a single word. And I didn't. Let that be, hopefully, something you consider. We're going to shoot back over to Krill.
Dabov, get up. You beat him. You beat the demon, Dabov. Dabov.
Make a medicine check for me.
Yeah, just a 15 on that.
A 15 tells you exactly what Sam knows, which is you, as you get close, as you're having this one-sided conversation, you eventually notice that Dabov isn't breathing. His body is just laying completely still.
Winch has arrived by this point.
Oh, good.
Stop fart-arsing around, Dabov. Come on.
No, Quinch.
What?
Stop.
What? Get him up. What's wrong?
Stop.
What's going on?
Stop, Quinch. Dabov is... Dabov is dead. Dabov died.
What? Quinch kneels down.
It's too late. Crew's already picked him up and is running towards Greg. He's got him in his arms and he's carrying him towards Greg. Greg! What? You must be able to do something, Greg. Dabov has died.
Oh, he's just sleeping, I should imagine. He wouldn't be dead. He's probably just exhausted after battling such a formidable foe.
Krill kneels down in front of Greg, placing Dabov's body gently on the floor in front of him. He sort of looks, and then instantly he thinks to Vin. His eyes are scanning the surrounding, knowing that Vin's never far away. Obviously unable to see him. And he's just, Greg, you must be able to do something, Greg.
Calm down, lad. Calm down. Let me just see what's going on here for a moment.
Crow's hysterical.
Greg's gonna bend down. Obviously, check for like breath on like the backside of his hand as you do. Check for a pulse. Obviously, not finding anything. He's gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, I could make you roll a medicine check, but I think it's fairly obvious, especially as it's something you're looking for as well. You come to the same conclusion that Krill did, that there is there's no life in this body. Krill, even when you were lifting him up, he seemed heavier somewhat than normal. Like he literally was a dead weight for you. Still something you were able to do because he's the size comparison, but you could tell that it was a little bit more difficult to do than normal, as if you do it all the time.
At this point, I think Greg would almost howl out in pain, like, "No, not my boy!"
Crow's instantly filled with rage. He sort of stands up from kneeling and he just looks across and he just points and goes, "This was you!" And instantly he's making moves towards...
It wasn't me. What are you talking about?
He's instantly making moves towards Swayze as fast as he can. He's charging towards Swayze.
As Dweezil sees Krill running towards him and gets kind of an idea of what's happening over there, I'm just going to drop Swayze and start sprinting towards Daboff.
Okay, so you drop Swayze, who just like a plank almost just hits the floor. I'm not going to say that he takes any damage, but what I will say is that
I'm not concentrating on my spell anymore.
No, and he, also timing-wise, it only lasted a minute. Realistically, by now it would have, given all the combat rounds as well, it would have. That was almost the same point that it finished, was him hitting the floor. So you go running off. We'll deal with that first before we deal with Krill. So what does Dweezil do?
Spunks every spell slot that I've got on Healing Word and Cure Wounds.
Okay.
Every single one of them.
Quinch has found a nuggie from Daboff's pocket and is trying to feed him it.
Oh, fucking hell. I don't know why, but that set me off more than the fucking healing spells. Okay, yeah, so Dweezil does that and gets 0 response. There's still a little bit of warmth to Daboff's body, but literally, half of that could be explained by the fact that the fire in the forest is still raging, and you're all still a little bit sweaty from the combat and everything. But yeah, Daboff is unresponsive.
Dweezil, what's happening? I don't understand.
I don't know, Quinch. I've just tried everything that I have to revive him, and nothing's working. What happened? What happened to him?
I don't know. I was in the throes of battle, and I looked over, and then Krill couldn't get him up. It's all happened so quickly. I don't know what any of this means.
I'll tell you what happened. Swayze happened. I think Krill's got the right idea here. Let's hang him by the neck.
Wow.
Okay, so back with Krill. Krill's come running towards Swayze, who is on the floor. Krill, as you're running towards him, can you roll me a perception, please? So let me just move these. Let me just move these along, because Dweezil would have been moving Swayze. So I'm just going to move. Let me just move Swayze to about, let's say, to about here. So if Krill, you can sort of put yourself getting close to him. What did you get on your perception, sorry?
19.
19. As you're running towards him, just as you get close to him, you just see his mouth moving, and you see his hand gesticulating as well. And literally at the point you get to him, he just...
I'm going for the throat, knowing that obviously spells use verbal components. I'm going to shut him down, not let him even squeeze a breath out. So my hand is moving towards his throat.
So he was literally just about to go. So what I'll do is a luck roll as to whether you get to him in time to stop him doing that. Okay. To stop what he was doing. Okay. So 1 to 10, you fail. 11 to 20, you succeed. Okay. 18, so you succeed. So just as you get to him, you just about stop him casting the spell he was just about to cast.
Okay. So I've got him
So he's on the floor. He wasn't aiming to stand up. He's still on the floor. So you're essentially on top of him.
Yeah.
With your hand around his throat. Okay. What do you do?
So
what are you doing?
Pinned down very heavily hand on his throat, like to the point that I'm not giving him the opportunity to squeeze out a single word. Krill's not a smart guy, but he knows that wizards use words as part of their magic. It's a component of it. It's something that he's obviously picked up, and he's just got him pinned, and he just leans in close, and he says, "You have one chance to tell us how to save him. If you don't do it, I will break you. I will crush your throat. I will destroy you if you don't tell us how to save Daboff."
Dweezil.
Hello.
Just as this is all going on, in fact, even before this, perhaps when you first started talking to Aldrich, but certainly since then, and while you've been dealing with the healing spells, you're feeling a bit fuzzy-headed. In fact, some of it could be explained from the fact that the battle. Some of it could be explained from the grief and trauma, but more so than that, you're starting just to get like this itch in your face, like you're a bit fuzzy-headed, but equally like your face, like in particular, like your left eye is starting to itch quite a lot, and it's starting to like really, really irritate you, and you just hear sort of distantly, you don't even know where you hear it, but you just hear, "Stop him." Back with Krill. So you said to Aldrich, he has one chance to tell you how to save him, and he sort of, one hand is sort of gripping, like you can see like his eyes are almost like somewhat popping out of his head, but you can see like one of his hands is holding your hand or your wrist, trying to force you off. And as you say, you get one chance, he sort of takes the second hand away from doing the same thing, and he sort of just holds up his like palm to sort of like just give you an indication of, look, release me, sort of, okay.
I'm still like on top of him. I literally just relieve enough pressure that he's still very much uncomfortable. Talking's not going to be easy, but he'd probably be able to get some words out.
As you do that, and
I'm going to almost ready an action in terms of, if anything that comes out of his mouth feels like it's the start of a spell, I'm just going to be straight back on with that pressure, ready to cut him off again.
Okay, so you release the pressure, and he manages to get out the words "Misty Step" as he disappears from underneath your hand, and he moves 30 foot.
Fuck.
And as he reappears, you see him sort of like coughing and spluttering, and sort of like holding his hand up towards you, and he's just Krill, I just needed to get out from underneath you. Please, you asked, you gave me the one chance, I will give you. I will talk to you. However, I just needed to do so from not underneath a half-orc. Please?
Krill's seeing red. He's sort of getting ready to just pursue him again. He's just completely blinded by rage.
So we're the rest of us are sort of watching this from afar. He's moved sort of 30 feet away from each of us. Really, he's moved away from both groups. Well,
yeah. So he's sort of moved to a sort of more I don't want to call it neutral ground, but he's moved away from both of you, but still somewhat in between you, so that he can sort of maybe not hold court, but that he's not sort of trying to escape, so to speak, or he hasn't. I'll rephrase that: he's not moved in a direction that would be escaping.
Yeah, I mean, like, non-metagamey, but if somebody wants to intervene on me charging him down again, now's probably the time to do it before I just go for him again. I'm, like I said, completely seeing red, blinded by rage and pain.
I understand, like, still looking at Krill, I understand why you are angry. I understand that you wish to take another go at me. And he looks back at Dweezil and at Greg, actually, and he just says, "However, as I have already warned Dweezil, I could have killed you in one word. If it was my intention to hurt any of you any further than you've been hurt, you would already be dead. I am willing to talk, but just please calm down." What does Krill do?
Krill's looking. I mean, Krill respects his fellow party members. He's panting and he's fuming. His eyes are sort of darting back and forth between the group. Back to Swayze, looking for some kind of support to him, either chasing him down and throttling him, or somebody telling him to stop. And because he's ready to go.
I think at this point, Greg's going to kind of stand up from kneeling on the floor, brush his tunic off a bit, and go, very well, you have one chance to explain, and like you said, you can kill us with one word, but that's very hard to do so when you're unconscious.
He looks at Greg, and magical man to magical man, he sort of a nod of, if not respect, then at least acknowledgement, I guess. And he sort of starts walking, sort of casually, almost way more casually than you'd expect of somebody in his situation and everything that's gone on. Sort of just a casual stroll towards the main group, I guess. Certainly in his initial movement, and as he approaches, as he gets closer, he just says, still rubbing his throat from where Krill has choked him somewhat, still a little bit dry-throated, and he says, "What do you understand of the concept of actions and consequences?"
Well, in this world, I know there's many a spell that you can cast to put, shall we say, misfortune on people or fortune on people based upon your actions, such as entering a doorway uninvited. But I don't see how that applies in this circumstance.
He nods at you in sort of acknowledgement again of what you've said, and still walking towards you, but sort of not looking to stop, almost as if he's going to be walking past you. And he says, "This is true. These are exactly the concepts I'm talking of. It is no surprise that I held little regard for the gnome. But let us talk about his actions, and let us talk about the consequences. He entered my home," and he's at this point he's got up to you and he sort of stopped. "He entered my home. He interfered in my family business. He stole from me. Those were his actions. The consequence of that is that it drew my eye towards him, my vengeful eye. And as you know, I wanted to see him dead. I wished not to upset anyone, but that day has come. As I later found out."
I'm afraid that doesn't track with me. You see, mortals don't have the power to judge who should live and die. Only the gods have that. Only Buck Up and the rest of the gods should decide on what happens to people.
You have never come across somebody and judged them and killed them?
I have done self-defense, but I have never attacked anyone out of a previous action they have taken against me.
Then you are a grander man than I, it seems. But anyway, I continue. From what I gather, having seen him again many years later, Daboff entered another home. And from what I gather, picked up himself a little curse, an action, and a consequence. He was untouchable to me. I was unable to do the many cruel things that I wished to do to him. But I wanted to see him suffer and die. Today, again, that day has come. But there are often other actions and other consequences that can be unforeseen. If you will, and he sort of gestures over towards where Daboff had been laying. And he starts walking over to that place. Do you want to join him?
Yeah, so Crew's sort of moved back up to the group now. It's far calmer, still angry. His attention has sort of gone back to Daboff now. He doesn't fear Swayze, but he respects the rest of the group that have decided to converse with him, and his attention just is fully back to Dabov, back to his side.
Okay, so he's walking over in that direction. Is everyone following him? Anyone following? Anyone staying with
That direction
Dabov's
being where
corpse?
Dabov was or where Dabov is?
Where he was.
I
Where he
mean,
was.
I feel Greg would be kind of captivated in his speech and like try to understand what is going on because he's quite a learned man. So he would follow for definitely.
Quinch will sort of stand guard over Dabov's body in that case.
Literally what I was doing, but that's okay.
That's all right. That's all right.
Both
The
do it.
two big boys can look after their little boy.
Should we hold hands in solidarity?
I'd rather hold your fist.
Dweezil?
Yeah, I'll follow Swayze with Greg.
Okay. As he's walking over, before he gets there, he sort of turns to you both and says, Do you, if I were to tell you that I have no connection to this creature, that I couldn't even tell you what it was, would you believe me?
Seems like too much of a coincidence to me.
Coincidences do happen, though, don't they? And whether or not you believe me, the truth of the matter is, I do not know what this great creature is. I could have a guess on the type of thing it is, based on what's happened today, based on education, but I have no connection to it whatsoever. Well, maybe not entirely unconnected. And he carries on walking. And as he gets close, when he gets to the area, he walks over specifically to the mace. So as you see, before today, I had never seen this creature before in my life. I'd seen many horrors before, but none quite like that. But something did strike me as being familiar. And if I'm not mistaken, and he looks down at the mace and he sort of puts his foot on it, and he sort of just rolls the brazier over. Yes, just as I thought. Can you read those two initials on there? I assume you can read, after all. And as you see this brazier roll over, you see two very decorative letters embossed on it, which are BR. Could you... Yeah, so when you see that, do you say anything?
I'd probably just read them out like a primary school child.
Well, literally, like a b-r.
B in a kind of questioning way, like you read the letters and instantly you start, like, you think that are they initials? So you'd say it, BR.
BR. Yes. Do you happen to know anyone that would have ostentatious fire braziers that may have had the initials BR?
Well, perhaps the Baron Ripton, or whatever his name was, Baron Rippington.
Bong Rippington.
Bon Rippington, yes.
Bong Rippington. Oh, of course. Me. Yes, this brazier is from my home. Now, what would a fire demon be doing with a brazier from my home? Fire.
Oh, the curse in it! It's the curse!
Fire. My home. Fire. My home.
Is it because we burnt your house down?
He says from clearly farther away. I wonder if perhaps somebody burning down my home, a home which belonged to a wizard, a home which would have been imbued with lots and lots of magic. I wonder if that had any consequences whatsoever in bringing a fire demon to this plane.
Just backtrack. Whose idea was it to actually burn the house down? I think it was MJ's. I'm almost convinced it was MJ's idea to burn the house down.
Not. Definitely not. Wouldn't have thought
I
so.
think it might have even been Dabov's. You see, I do not know exactly what happened, but for a fire demon of this ilk to be wielding an item from my house, and I again assure you I have no connection to this creature. I just wonder if someone else's actions have brought about a consequence. And when he says the word consequence, He nods his head towards where Dabov now lies.
That's a bit cruel.
Mm.
Do you understand the weight of my words, Dweezil, Greg?
I mean, yeah. I mean, essentially, what you're doing, our mate is that our mate, Big Demon turned up. You turned up, which is a mad. I mean, I know you're saying it's a coincidence, but it's a mad coincidence. Then,
It's either his fault or he's turned up to watch, and I'm not sure which is worse.
Yeah, I mean, how you knew this was going to happen then? Like, and now, you say, do I understand the weight of your words? Essentially, all this stuff's happened, and now you're telling us off. Like, this is the I'm not angry, I'm disappointed talk.
Oh, I've heard that a lot.
I am a man who's done some many terrible things in this life. I do not judge others for their deeds. I am merely telling you that you are sad now for Dabov's death, and it is an understandable emotion. But please do understand, Dabov died today because of actions of himself and actions of you as a party. I came to watch. I have peculiar tastes, shall we say. And if you're wondering why I'm here today, I did warn you during the battle. Your little friend was wearing an item that I gave him, an item that allowed me to scry on him from time to time. I knew where you were at all times. I knew what you were doing. And don't tell me how I know, I just knew that the time was coming for Dabov to pass. Thanks for listening. Make sure you don't miss out on the Circus's next crazy antics by hitting subscribe on your podcast app of choice. And in between episodes, you can always find us on social media by searching Dyson Desire on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. We're in our 3rd year now, and if you want to help us grow, you can do so in a number of ways. You can tell a friend, because word of mouth really helps us get our name out there, or you can review us on Apple or Podchaser to help with our visibility. Finally, you can donate to our Ko-fi page to help us take the show to the next level. All links can be found in this episode's description. And never forget, sometimes it is a dog licking a tree, yes?
We're going to give it another go. It's a bit more zing. A bit of zing. Zing. Yeah. Ready? Hello. With a hello. No. Hello. Wait till I get through the whole thing. Ready? Wait till hello with a billowing hilltop.
Hello.
Oh dear, waiting to get through the whole thing. No, I mean...
I thought that was the whole thing.
The whole thing is hello with a billowing hilltop. Okay. That's the whole thing. Yeah?
Okay. That was right.
That pretty much sums up the show. But if you want to find out any more, you can visit us at www.billowinghilltop. Is it com? Does anybody know?
.org.
Is it? It's .com. What do we do? What do we play?
There's monsters.
Does anybody remember?
Walking around.
I don't know.
And, yeah.
We will be delighted if you were to join us around our table as we play Dungeons. Is it 5th edition? Hello?
Yeah, we think so.
Yes.
Yes. We
What
play
was that
Dungeons
noise
and Dragons.
in the background?
Sorry, that was me.
What was that noise in the background? There will be noises in the background as we play Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition through the classic Paizo adventure path, The Age of Worms. You can expect this. No! Quite a bit of this.
I'm completely lost.
This. This.
Got a bugbear in my underpants.
And one of these.
Oh dear.
We're on Apple Podcasts and we're on Spotify and we're on TuneIn, and you can find us on Twitter and you can find us on Facebook. And we hope you join us. Thanks very much.